Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our third filmmaking workshop titled Producing a Low Budget Short Film 101, as you can see on the screen. My name is Yvonne. I'm part of the My Mind on Film team, and I'll be your MC for today. But before we begin, let me just run through some housekeeping rules. So this workshop is an hour and 30 minutes long. So we aim to end this session by 9:30, and the Q&A will be at the very end of this session. So the last 30 minutes around that time will be dedicated to Q&As. The questions that you guys submitted via Eventbrite, those will be answered first. But if you have any other extra questions, feel free to add them. Try to push them to and ask them over at the end. But if you want to interact with Edward during the session, please by all means use the chat box. It's for you, you know.
Or raise your hand.
Yeah. And one more thing, please do switch on your webcams. We really appreciate if you guys would do that, but make sure to mute yourself just to avoid interrupting Edward during the workshop. Yeah, so let me introduce you to our organizers for this event. As I mentioned, I'm part of My Mind on Film, which is MMOF for short, and we're a Malaysian short film festival that focuses on youth mental health. So this project is initiated by the Center for Mental Health and Wellbeing in order to open a discussion on youth mental health through filmmaking with the objective to inspire sharing of perspectives and ideas, recognize that mental health is universal, changeable, and includes the positives, and also to reduce stigma. So just a quick update that I'm very excited to also announce that our deadlines have actually been extended recently. So film submissions now close on the 20th of January 2021. So you guys have an extra month starting from today. But do make sure to register by the end of the year. So before December 31st, 2020. So the second organizers of this event is the Malaysian Student Film Festival, also known as MSFF, and they are the first ever virtual Malaysian film festival scheduled for a 3-day showcase weekend in late March of 2021. So 16 universities with their own student film crews will create a 20 to 40-minute short film surrounding the theme of Malaysia and culture. At the last day of the festival, there will be awards. So stay tuned to their social media pages to find out more about their live stream film festival in 2021. Yep. Okay, so finally, let me introduce you to our speaker for today, Edward Lim. So he's a producer at Grim Films, and he also happens to be one of our judges for the My Mind on Film Festival. He's a Vancouver Film School graduate and has been active in the Malaysian independent film scene and commercial. He produced a branded short film, The Last Day of School, that won the Silver Lions Award at the Cairns Lions International Festival of Creativity in 2016 and bagged a total of 7 awards at the Singapore Gong 2015 Creative Circle Awards. So together with director Tan Cheding, after the success of Hawa in BMW Shorties 2016, they ventured into making The Masseuse and traveled to many festivals like Kaohsiung Film Festival, Short Shots Film Festival, Cambodia International Film Festival, and many more. So without further ado, let me just pass this over to Edward.
Yay! Okay, hi everyone. I just noticed something. I'm sharing low budget. I'm kind of known for that. Because I was just sharing to my friends, like, oh, by the way, this evening I'm gonna do a little bit of a low budget thing. It's like, oh my god, that's so you. I was like, oh shit, really? Oh no, I'm being known for just doing low budget things. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. Okay. Jokes aside, I think like low budget is always the way to start because I think I received questions about what is the best way to start as a filmmaker, things like that. Well, low budget is the best way because at the beginning, I think nobody trusts us. Nobody would want to fund us unless we have rich parents who have extra money. That comes with very little people. Then yes, low budget is the way. I've known films like done really, really zero budget, just like their phone and their camera, and they just shoot it in their own home with their partners or with their family members. And that they won award. So yeah, I believe like everybody has seen the film that I sent over, most of you guys. It's okay if you guys don't. It's not homework.
Wait, did we actually forget to send? Yvonne. Oh wait, Yvonne. Sorry, just let me.
That's all right. That's all right. It's okay. Okay, so I have two. Then.
Is it possible to screen it from? Do you need me to help screen it from my
No,
side?
it's okay. If we screen everything, it's gonna be like an hour long.
Okay, perhaps we can send the link in the chat box.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys can watch in the future. I can make a sample first.
Okay, all right, we'll send it in the.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay.
You were saying at work.
Right. Okay. So, so I actually put up the link will be a comparison of like 4 films that I did, because I put all 4 being romance, and 2 for being short budget, and 4 the other 2 for being high budget. Okay, can we go to the next slide?
Sorry, a bit technical error. There we go.
All right, so so the low budget ones, there's 2 low budget ones, and the 2 low budget ones I have like because it's romance, and the protagonist I have, of course, it's the male and the female leads. So yeah, so and all 4 of them have a male and female lead. So then that comes into like the numbers of cast and crew. Okay, now every budget, I feel the first 2 things that we always look at the script is the number of cast and crew and the locations, right? Because like if with the cast and the numbers of cast and crew and the locations, then we know how we know roughly like at the surface level if this is a low budget or a high budget. So like the 2 low budget ones that I put up, it's sort of based on one location, and maximum maybe only 2 and 3, maximum 3, and that's it. And even if like I produce like a low budget in like a main one location, I'll get like all the locations surrounding. Sometimes I can face this way and make it as one, and then I go another side and make it as another one. So that's how we do it. And then cast is definitely one. So mainly is that 2, and then once I pass that phase, and then I further analyze the script, I will look at the world design. So if you look at the high budget 2 links, one is a cyberpunk, one is a post-apocalypse. So when I look at the script and I look at, oh shit, it's a post-apocalyptic, it's a cyberpunk, then you know like the world is a difficult world to set, and that way I need an art direction that need to spend a lot to create that world. And so that is the first thing that comes into my head, because then I know this is not going to be cheap. So that's one thing. Or if like I'm doing something contemporary, like a love story that is like down my street, you know, something like as simple as that. And then I know like I can just bring my crew and just my camera, and then just go ahead, just head down to that location and just did it, because that is my location, that is my world. So that way we do not need to spend too much in art direction. And then it comes to equipment, it depends. So like sometimes most of these things are something we collaborate with our directors. Our directors will request how things want to look, and work with their cinematographer and DOP as well to decide how the look to be. And when the visual are needed, like with like high equipments, with like great extreme camera to capture the kind of feelings, then that is another because like when the heavier the equipment, also comes more crew. So yeah, so that would be something of importance as well. And then there is number of extras. Speaking of low budget, expectation versus reality. You know, like how you expect like producers being around and everybody like kind of like suck up to like, oh hey, this is the boss of the film set, da 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 da. But then like when you are doing film, most of the time the reality is that you're going around and begging people to do things within your budget. So this is something. Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of times that's what we do. Some people say it nice, it's called negotiation, but I like to be a little bit real and call it begging to make it cheaper. So yeah, and then it comes to extras. Why extras? Because like even though like sometimes in a film we don't really notice them and such like that, but extra is the thing that we will never be able to negotiate, because they are each individuals and we have to count them one by one. So for example, like, you know, cast, like if like we're talking about the lead or stars, then maybe they can like, you know, negotiate a little bit because they are one person. But extra, this is the standard price. you are talking about 20 people, there's no way you can actually go down. You can say like, if like the direction is like, I need 20 people in this scene, then you have to have 20 people. There's no way to, to change that. So that's one way. And then there is the workspace condition. Workspace condition, especially these days, are a little bit harder because we have our COVID SOP to comply as well, that being something additional in our mind. But by that workspace condition, and also includes like the food we eat, the crafty, some in Western country call it, but here sometimes catering, or the snacks, should we like, or sometimes it depends on the locations as well. If like we have a studio or a place, like if the studio have air condition or the studio without air condition, sometimes all these things are budgeted in as well, So yeah, this is something, and sometimes these are small investments that goes a long way, I believe, because like if like a bad condition sometimes can cause crew being very fidgety, and then they are not very happy, and then your sets will be have this like sort of an atmosphere you don't really want to work in. It's very hard to control. So yes, that's one. And then post-production. This is I believe like post-production is always something that we have to plan for during pre-production. It's a very common mistake. Even like even myself, and I've seen a lot of professional. It's like we almost always forget about post-production. Sometimes we leave it towards the end, and then only we decide to see like if we have enough budget to actually approach like a proper sound engineer or a sound designer or visual effect artist to work on our stuff. That's a very common mistake. But I believe like we should always, like during pre-production, we should already know if we needed them or not. Like it depends, like let's say if I'm doing a cyberpunk, and sound is definitely, even beside the visual, sound is very, very, very important. I can't just have my friend to help me out. Sometimes, like yes, I could have a very good skilled friend as well, but like should I get a proper audio studio to do that? That's one way. So yeah, so that's post-production should be decided in pre-production, and we need to include them during pre-production as well. Like sometimes during scripts development, we will have like sound people to come in and actually discuss with them about like how should we go about the scene and the location, how does it look like? Do you want to come into the location and record the actual sound of it and things like that? So some really professional sound engineer, they would like, yeah, I want to know how your scene is when you're shooting, where will you be? And I want to know like if you're for example, if you're shooting down in like New York Times Square, and he wants to come to on set and actually record the sound, like the crowd sound there, because it's very specific, So some of these things that they want to know during early during pre-productions. So that's one way. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. So these are some of the still shots. If you guys haven't seen it, but through these still shots, we can kind of know that what I mentioned earlier about like if I'm doing something cyberpunk or I'm doing something post-apocalyptic, and immediately we can recognize like the price of it. And then if I'm doing something contemporary and it's just down the street, I can shoot it, and it's probably just like under my apartment, and then I can just shoot it, or I can just find a friend's cafe and I just shoot it, So yeah, this is the 4 film that I mentioned. So it's easy to compare. 4 of them are sort of romance, and and when you guys watch it, you guys can just enjoy. Though, okay, let me just tell you guys a little bit. The one on the top left, it's about a Malay girl living in a post-apocalyptic world where she was bit by a zombie. And in that world, the zombie changed after you got virus infected. You don't change immediately. You took like maybe months or years to change, depends on your body as well. So during the change, she was being quarantined and being locked up by the family, hoping that there would be a cure. And then during her quarantine, she sort of a Rapunzel. Then she kind of saw like in the next door in their settlement, then he saw these Chinese kids, this Chinese boy moved into next door, and then that's her only escape. That's her only friend that they try to make. And then soon later there's a zombie attack. Then they have to leave and then both of them just survive by their own without parents and such. So that's the story idea. So immediately you would know like, oh shit, there's a zombie attack. How are we gonna do that? How would the director want it? And then you would need to communicate with your directors, or try to work with them in making it possible to create that. Sometimes, no, we do not have the budget. We can't have the zombie horde coming in. We cannot hire all these extras coming in, or the makeup to make them up. So then that's another cost. So then these are the times that we call in our sound engineer. Hey, I do not have the money to make a horde. I do not have the makeup money to make them up as well. I will keep the shots on our talent, our main talent, and then we use sounds to cheat it. So you have a look at the film, and then we'll see how that goes. And then the one on the right side, so that's a cyberpunk romance about a technician who's supposed to go and fix up a robot prostitute. Turned out he fell in love with a robot prostitute. And then it turns out that he's actually a techno-terrorism who wants to frame the robots being the bad guy. But then he's being torn apart whether he wants to actually frame all the robots being terrorists, or he wants to run away with the lover. So that's the film. So yes, we have robots, and we have like, so then the world, we know that it's cyberpunk, and how are we going to do that? And then we have to look, then we have to look things around. So often, like, I'm being told that producers always have to be resourceful, and this is being always mistaken, like the meaning of resourceful, because resourceful doesn't mean like you have budget, you have a lot of budget. Sometimes resourceful always means like you look around what you have and you make use of what you have. So obviously in this frame, you can see that that's a store somewhere on the street side, but then we put a little, we change a bit of lighting, but then the fashion, we keep it as the way it is, because I believe 20, 30, 50 years down, chopsticks will still be chopsticks. The kind of like wall, the kind of tables will still be the same in the future. So that's the world we are going for. And if you look at it, we shot in the real MRT station when it was new. So that was pretty cool at that time. Now everybody have been through MRT station. It's not that cool anymore. So yeah, that's an idea. And then down below is a very simple romance story with how the street looks and a cafe. And the one on the top, bottom right, that one, it's almost, I think, would be like the 90% of the film happens in the cafe. So that was, I would say, this in terms of 4 of these, that would be the cheapest, but by not all means that's actually the worst. And sometimes it's really down to the content, and that is the most important thing, because it doesn't matter like if you have flying cars or explosion, or you have like car turning around, but it all depends. A good film always, like, you will remember better when there is always a character that matters, and best if you can relate. So yes, I never believe in because you're expensive and you're good, but sometimes my cheap ones actually win more awards, and actually there are more people likes it. So you guys can have a look at that one. Let's move on to the next one. Right. Okay. Rule of thumb. So being a producer, we don't just do the administrative part. We do a lot of creative producing as well. And how we're doing the creative producing, we really have to get creative in like a lot of things, like especially in communicating with the team. Because I think producer is the hub of the film. We are the engine. Yes, the director is the driving force. They are the pilot, but we are the engine. So everything goes through us. Whatever communication goes through us, and sometimes it's up to us how we communicate into making things happen in a good way, or in a way that we want. Of course, in respect with all the creatives that we have around us, because they are the professional. We wanna respect that as well. So rule of thumb, I'm sure like most of you guys here are film students or film enthusiasts, right? Probably, yeah, okay. I can't really see or hear you guys, but let's hope that is. I mean, we all know, like, if you guys ever study films or things like that, 3X structure, 5 steps structure, whatever, all these, the hero journeys, all these things we all know, okay? But I've seen a lot of like people always don't follow these rules and say like, hey, look at me, how creative I am, like I don't follow because this is special. But then you don't really get it in the end. Like, okay, I know you're trying to be creative because you don't want to follow other people and such. But then like you're just, you don't, yeah. So you don't. Okay, yeah, you don't. Yeah, you just like. I'm sure you guys have seen it. So you must understand the rules before breaking them. So that's my rule of thumb. That's my principle, because like I'm sure Christopher Nolan knows the 3x structure before twisting around all the time. He already actually wrote the script in the linear form before he go and twist it around so that it won't be that confusing. And being a filmmaker, I think if you fail in really telling the base story, then there's no point adding all these trivial things just so you can be cool, like you first tell the story first in the most simple form possible. So yes, must understand the rule before breaking them. At least do something that follow the rules first before doing your next film that actually breaks them, right? Another one is that I believe like character must be different from at the end before and compare with their beginning. So I think that's the essence of like film. I mean, every film, every single, actually not just film, every literature as well. In order for us to relate every character from beginning at the end, they are different. Somehow they grow, or they've been through something that they change them. They can be worse, they can be better, they can be no longer there, or they can be somewhere else. So but they have to be different. They can't be the same person anymore. Then that way I think only then the whole thing, the whole content, I can't find a word. The whole content, it's relevant, yeah. So yeah, that's one. And then very common mistake as well, because I work with multiple directors, and these are some of the things that sometimes as a producer we want to, I wouldn't say advice. Most of them are my friends. I'm not their mentor or anything. Sometimes we have to work together in reminding them. So another common thing is like antagonist and villain must not be forgotten. By that means, I'm not saying like don't forget to put them there. Whoever is, if you are creating a story and you have an antagonist or a villain, every antagonist thinks they are protagonists. Everyone thinks they are right, and we cannot forget that, because they must have their reason. Thanos wants to clear off the world, half of the world. It's because he has his reason, Or if you guys know the comic, it's because of love. But they need to have their reason, because they are as important as protagonists. So do not forget that. I have worked with directors who write stories that they put the villain there just so it supports the protagonist. You can't just have that. Every character, not just the protagonist, every character must be different at the end and as of their beginning. So yes, remember when you write, I think this is something that we always forget as well. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, I mean, most of us here know about the three phase of production, right? The prep, shoot, post, right? That's like the most common thing. But then some of us know about the five steps: the development, prep, shoot, and post and distribution. So that's the actual 5. But then if you want to really get it down, then in terms of writing wise, then here's how we do it. So we start with, when we write, we always start with logline. That's the easiest way, because we start with a logline, then we show it to our friends. Not too many, like 2 or 3 trusted friends to ask them. Okay, so why I say like 2 or 3 trusted friends and not too many people is because like I've done so many times about like sharing script with our friends, or like edit draft to our friends, and then like if you have shared more than 3 or maybe 5 people, 6 people, the comments coming in can be very confusing, and it makes you very insecure in your own projects. So my preference would be 3 very trusted friends. By trusted, I mean like you trust their criticism, and you trust that they know what they're talking about. So like, for example, filmmaking friends or whoever writer friends who are actually, you think they understand story well and characters well, then you just show it to them and see what they have. Just 3 is enough. More than 3, if like 3 of them come back to you with the same comment, which it's better to change that. But yeah, more than 3, too many, then you become insecure and you don't really want to proceed with what you are doing. Especially in post-production, you show them the draft, there's too many comments, you become insecure, you don't want to finish it. That's the worst nightmare. So from logline, that's the easiest to share it with people. And then there's treatment. Treatment, I feel I always have the tendency of like writing more than one page, but it's always easy to write long, but it's harder to actually do short. And same goes to short film as well. If you have a film, you have 2 hours, there's so many expositions you can tell people, like, hey, this character, because this happened, that's why he's there. But in a short film, you have to find a way to tell all these things in a short time. And so it's actually harder. So you really want to get down to business. Actually, short film it's challenging, you know. So a lot of times our script, our first draft is always like half long, and then it's about how do we cut down. And that's a huge, it's a very important skill to have as well, how we're going to throw things out and yet keep the important element. So that's one. So treatment, we are always tempted to write more than one page, but then we have to keep ourselves one page so it's easy for other people to read and yourself to remember what you are doing as well. If we have like extra notes that we know that in the treatment we want to use it in the writing later, so I always suggest a note on the side. So the treatment is clean cut one pager. I mean, you can cheat a little bit by making the font smaller and such, but you know, still you don't want to make it too long so that you can, you know, easier to share with your friends. And then, so once you have the script done, script breakdown. Now by that script breakdown, as a producer, we read through the script and we highlight things that actually would cost money. So that's the most important thing. So like, for example, if I read through, okay, there is an explosion, I need to highlight the explosion. Whether the explosion is by special effects or visual effects. Okay, there's a flipping car, I need to buy a car. Okay, there is how many characters? I have 5 characters in this scene, I need to do 5 casting. So like, I always print my script one pager, so then I have the back page on the left side that it's empty. Then I'll write down the list of the things that I highlighted. You know, then after my entire script is done, then I will compile the things that I need to spend money, and then I'll do my budgeting with that one. Then it comes to next, which is the budgeting. Budgeting, it's as it is. So you can pretty much create a Excel sheet of your own. It can be your own format. You pretty much list down the things that are needed. For example, above the line and below the line. Above the line, you have like these people who handles creative, and you pretty much set their price right there. Director, producer, screenwriter. Before the shoot starts, you know, then you just write down how much these people cost, or if they are your friends. If let's say we are talking about low budget, if you are your friends, then you don't have to put in anything, you know. Or if you are your own company stuff, you don't really have to put in anything because those are soft costs in a way. Then it comes down to, like I mentioned, it's always is the cast and location is a priority that you need to look, because if you don't have a cast, you don't have a location, you don't have a film. You can have a very shitty camera guy, doesn't matter, as long as you have pictures, it works. In the end, it's a location and cast. Once you have these 2 things, you're good to go. It doesn't matter anything else. So this is the 2 things that we look at it. Okay, who is my cast? Is it my mom, my brother? Is there 3 people? My dog, they're 3 as well. And then we have locations. Is it going to be my house, my yard, my parking lot? Are these things? Okay, so they're free. The park outside my house, these are all free. So those are things that we put it in, and then we know how much we need to spend, and then the rest we'll think about it later. And then of course, then it comes with the art department people. Do you need special costumes? Do you need do you need a special camera? Which I, you know, not a huge believer, but you know, sometimes we need it. Budgeting, and then the next, it comes into pitching. So you know how much you need to spend. You have the story, you know how much you need to spend. And if, like, let's say we are talking about like we are doing a feature film, and then we need to pitch. Sometimes we pitch to some organizations of some funding, some film festival funding. Sometimes we pitch to some private investors. Sometimes we pitch to our mom and dad to sponsor us. That's pitching. Everything is a pitch. Pitching is very simple. Pitching is not just about pitching people that you need money from them. Sometimes it's about pitching your crew as well. Say your director really wants this DOP to be on board, and then it's your, sometimes it can be the director work as well, but it's also your work to go to approach this this DOP and convince this DOP how interesting your story is and how it will help his career as well, maybe. some older people don't really care, but how his style implements this story and this story, how cool it is, so and how the direction goes and how much is the money. So that's pitching. Or your wardrobe people are like, okay, this is a cyberpunk, you have so your wardrobe, and then this is the story, this is our character, and then this is all pitching. So then they get your idea and then to see if you're interested or not. And of course, everybody else. So pitching is a very important skill, especially for producers. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can be like in the US, pitching to studios. You can be in Malaysia. If you are working in the commercial, you have to pitch towards your client, your agencies. It's an everyday thing. And I think you just have to do a few times until you're like, you just close your eyes also you can do, like, I still remember at the beginning, in the early days, I had like this nervous thing before my pitch. But then now it's just like, okay, I'll just quickly do it. If I did it, just go. Right, assemble, yes. Assemble is the time. So after you pitch, you already have the money, say, okay? And then you already have your key crews, and then assemble is that you assemble your crew. So it's always nice. Malaysia is a very small industry. In the industry, like if you're a camera guy, I'm sure you have already worked with this wardrobe person. This wardrobe person already worked with these art department people, So like it's always just a few of them, So yeah, so you assemble them, see who fits well, how fits well, see if these are the people that directors think that their style will fit them. And then if they communicate well with all the team members, that's one. If they have politics before, that's something sometimes we have to take note. So that, sorry, is Hannah? Xuan, did you raise your hand? Okay. And then once assembled, then of course we go into prep. Now prep is it's the whole team, right? So first AD, they have to do their breakdown. They start prepping their schedules and such for the shoots, and then the wardrobe people start making their wardrobes or start sourcing their wardrobes and things like that. And then directors, the DOP will go to locations to have a tag recce, to see how we're going to utilize the locations, how we're going to frame parts. And then this usually it's prep, I would say, hits the most important part. I mean, every part is important, but prep, it really determines how your shoot and your post-production goes. So never underestimate, always plan more time in prep than anywhere else. I mean, depends. If like the post have visual effects, then put a little bit of time for them. But prep, yes, always. I always try to give more time to prep so that we are more prepared. And then shoot. The happiest part. Not that we don't have to do anything, but like as a producer, there's a lot more to do during shoot as well. We help out the director to see things out. Sometimes he's so into like how his actors works. He sometimes mislook a lot of stuff, and then you are his best friend, and then you just need to help him look out for it. My preference, the way of my work, is that I always go back to the director and reassure things. Speaking of reassuring, the producer is always the go-to person for director. We are almost their, speaking of psychology, we are almost their assurance. They always, when they have their doubt, they always come to you first. So it's up to us to see how we play the game, how we're going to soothe them and assure them like, this is fine, this is okay. Yes, I know you heard some weird stuff, but then like, trust me, this is good. So you are his second thought, you have his second brain, you have to assure him. Most of the directors I work with, they are my best friends, and in life as well. So we have our differences, but it's always like when it comes to work, I always try to be a friend as well in support. And I always see, I hate to say this, but I always see producer as sort of, if we can support them well, the shoot will go well. But also we need to make a stand for ourselves as well. We are almost like a supporting role. If you are like into RPG, then we are sort of like the cleric, like we are there to heal them, help them, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, in a way we learn to take pride in that, in a way, in a sense, so that they can go and pursue their creativity geniuses, and we are happy to be there. Yeah, okay, shoots, and then during shoots, we support, we help look and see everybody, everyone, make sure the conditions are good, make sure they don't miss things out, and just like, hey, just a little bit reminder here and there, safety, that's one thing, you know. Most of the time that people think producers just on set not doing much, actually, most of the time, yeah. Yeah, in a way. Post-production, if you do not have a post supervisor most of the time, then if you're on low budget, then of course you don't, then it will be up to you to be the post supervisor, which is sort of like the post producer, some people call it. It's you who, like I said, you guys probably already know offline, online phases and all that. Sorry, and then sound and then visual effects. Probably graphics, sometimes you have to put credits, title in, and then it's up to you to go and communicate this part and make the workflow smooth for everyone. For example, producer main two works is the scheduling and the budgeting. So the scheduling in terms of like post is very important. Why? Because once you pass the offline stage, you never want to go back to offline stage, because if you go back to offline stage, online people is gonna really, yeah, they're gonna be very angry. So you already start sound, you already start visual effects. No, don't go back. That's it. Directors sometimes say, hey, I have done, please help me out. But like, no, you know, they already started their work. You really don't want to waste it. You had your chances. So it makes your stand. Sometimes if the changes doesn't affect, yeah, maybe just make sure, inform everybody, and that's it. And then distribution. Distribution used to be a lot more complicated, but nowadays it's just called post online. That's it. It used to be like, hey, how are you gonna sell? How are you gonna like, hey, approach agent, da 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 da. But then that time it's sort of like it's going out of date, especially during this COVID time. It used to be like, hey, how are we gonna get studio to sell our film, sales agent, yada yada yada. But now Netflix asks you to do something, you just do it, give it to them, done. You know, TV3 asks you to do something, do it, give it to them, done. Yeah. So I think distributions are simpler as we move forward. So that's my belief. And if you're doing your own film or your brand film, pretty much just upload to YouTube. That's it. Should we, is this my last page? I don't remember. This is my last page, right? Oh, okay.
So we included all the log lines that you guys submitted over here. So Edward's gonna choose one, and he's gonna demonstrate like the stages that you kind of just explained, and like sort of play around with that for a while. Yeah, for
you
the
guys are
remaining time.
really quiet, guys. I'm actually feeling.
I guess we're just really attentive.
I'm tired. Yeah, I'm like, because you guys don't cut it, because I can't stop, you know.
Oh, because I think we leave for the questions towards the end. I think everyone's just like kind of taking notes. I'm taking notes too.
Okay. Okay, that was tiring.
Oh no. Okay.
You did great, Edward. That was great. You were amazing. That was really good.
You're being nice.
Guys, you guys like, you know, compliment him in the chat. Tell him, reassure him he's doing a great job.
You know, producers don't usually do this for us.
I'm not doubting myself. I'm all good. It's just that like, I'm just so tired.
Great to have.
Okay. Yeah. All right. From the list, the first one I saw was like, oh, thanks, Daniel. Okay. Okay. From the list, the first one I saw is 168. Sorry, who did this? Is the 168 person in here?
It's the person in the chat. Maybe you guys can like comment which one you guys like, also which one is appealing. You have to check on that. Wait, let me just check.
Who is the 168 person or the FFK? I guess, okay, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so 168. All right, so follows the final days of the summer of a high school graduate as they attempt to throw the party. Sorry, my chat blocked it. The house party to end all house parties. Okay. It's not the perfect log line. I can see how it is. I think there's a film, was that Project X or something? I'm imagining something like that, you know. But like it needs a little bit more details to be intriguing, you know, like what's special about it. And then it would be nicer if you like have a character there, and then you can Google like how to write a log line. It's all there. I don't need to explain it. It's nicer if you have a character, and that character always is being torn in decisions, and then that's where it intrigues people, you know, like yeah. So this one's okay, high school. So this is pretty much a group of people is going to do something. So it's, if you give them choices, that would be even more interesting. You know, like for example, like how about like, you know, high school graduate who runs who chose, or maybe a high school boy who chose to betray the family or want to go to this party, you know, like, you know, wait, that's sort of the, yeah, so something like that. And then the next one, sorry, let's go up. Sarawak Laksa. This is cute. Who wrote Sarawak Laksa? Oh, sorry. Oh, hi, Jocelyn. Okay. Are you from Sarawak? Okay. Sarawak Laksa is a personal love letter to my hometown, and a homage to our favorite food, Sarawak Laksa, exploring the well-known taste of the cuisine and seemingly unknown recipe closely guarded by its gatekeeper. You okay? Yes, it sounds like a documentary. Oh, it is? Okay. Okay. You want to tell us more a little bit about it?
Sorry, I can't be too loud because I'm at someone else's house, but basically it's about the locals' view of Sarawak Laksa.
Okay.
Because yeah, I can't go anywhere, so I'm stuck here. So I can only
Okay,
hear what people has to
That's
say.
all right. But because like actually I had friends. My friend just did a very interesting food documentary called The Other Kitchen. You guys can go and YouTube that. The Other Kitchen. It's, yeah, basically paying homage to our local heroes. They call it, you know. You can have a look at that one. But when I was discussing with them about that project, I had heard another team, a friend of mine, criticize them being like, okay, you guys have a look, criticize them for being not clear enough with what they want to say. Of course, we all watch like all these like street food chef in Netflix, but there's one that I specifically like it. It's actually called The Taste of China in YouTube. It's produced by CCTV. Why? Because when they actually comes into the food, they talk about their entire lifestyle of it and how the lifestyle creates, how it relates to the food, you know. And if they're talking about the farmer who or the creator of the food, then they talk about their backstory as well. How did this person make this story? How did this person make this food? And because it goes into their backstory, like how their family, who is the father and what did they do, and this person, this hawker got like 3 kids, and these 3 kids need money to study. So and then it becomes so like it becomes so emotional in a way. So I thought that is very fun. And then in the end, it's no more about the food. It's just a starting point for you to like, oh, that's interesting. And then it gets into this hawker person's story, his life. And then it's just like mind blowing. Yeah, you can have a look. It's called The Taste of China. And then like at the place, how these people, how this neighborhood works. So yeah, it's something that I like. Documentary, speaking of budget, it's always, if you have a small team, it's always the most budget way of making content. And nowadays documentaries are making a huge, I wouldn't say a comeback, but it's rising up quickly, especially with all these streaming things and with all these online things that we want to get like information quickly. I think documentary, it's entertaining documentary. It's very being looked. A lot of people will have their eyes on it. You know, they can get a lot of attention from it. So wow, I'm glad to have to see documentary. Okay, this one actually intrigued me. In a claustrophobic street of Kowloon Wall City, 90s, A group of strong-willed, ambitious teenagers attempt to break free of poverty and run risky underground business, illegal selling drugs. Sorry, who wrote this one? I think it's a guy. It's probably a guy. Sounds like a guy thing. You can comment. I can't really see everyone in the screen. Hello.
Maybe the person's not here. I'm not too sure.
This is fun. I thought this is fun. So yeah, this is what I mentioned earlier. Like it has choices. You know, like they need to break free, and this is what the character motivations. Yes, sorry, that's the word. The motivations. They need to get rid of poverty and do something risky. You know, then something interesting we want to watch. You know. So when we write a logline, it's there as well. If we can't write a good logline, we cannot write a good treatment. If we cannot write a good treatment, we cannot write a good script. So start from a good logline. So that's always like very important. Yeah. So yeah, it's stated there. I mean, like ambitious teenagers. Like if it's me, I would of course put a protagonist there, like a teenager. Maybe what's his name? Alex attempted to break free, and then okay, there's someone that I want to care about, you know, like okay, if he's staying, then he's probably dead. But if he needs to get out of here, he's doing something illegal, you know. Wow, okay. Intriguing, okay. Traumatized by his past and future problems, the low self-esteem boy wants to become confident. Very vague, very wide, very general. But sorry, who wrote this one? Maybe we can further elaborate a little bit. Why everyone's smiling like that? Is it you? Did you write this one? That's me, Voon.
No,
Okay. Oh, you know this person. Huh? Okay, Voon, do you want to open your mic and tell us a little bit more about this one? No? Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so basically like it's basically like what I went through from my childhood until now. So I want to showcase like how like I actually went through all these problems at the same time like I overcome all these problems as well.
Okay.
But it's not that much detail at all because it's in the script actually, but then I don't really want to reveal that much.
Okay, I mean like you all right then. Okay, about like telling personal story, especially if you're writing it, I have a certain belief about like not doing your personal story that much, because it's okay, you can write the script, but I always believe you hand it to someone to tell a story. It's always better if they are people, because it's just like if you have too much personal into it, the story never comes out as of relatable, and you couldn't tell. And that's like I've seen friends doing it, and knowing professionals. One of my favorite film of all time. It's A Simple Life by Andy Lau acted in it. Ann Hui is the director. It's about a personal story of a producer, actually. It's a friend, as a producer friend, but when the producer actually tells the story to Ann Hui, the director, then Ann Hui was intrigued by the story. Oh shit, this happened to you? Oh, that's interesting. It's basically about this producer has a old mate who is having stroke and dying soon. And towards the end of the mate life, he take care of the mate, and it's a simple story, just like that. But the director heard about this story of this producer. He's like, hey, can I adapt your story? Then the producer's like, okay, but you know, I do not want to be involved. So is a recent Malaysian film called Pulang as well, acted by Remy Ishak. It's a story of a grandfather of TV3, Media Prima CEO, former CEO. It's his grandfather's story, but when he told the story to the director, he's like, you know what? Hey, I like that story. May I shoot it? And then he's like, okay, but I won't be involved. So there is this stigma about like there are people understand why they do not want to involve in their personal story. It's because when you are too personal, you can't really tell. You can't really tell what is there that other people don't understand, because everything is already in your head. So that's my thought. But I'm sure, like, okay, because this is like sort of like a psychology my mind on film. I can't wait to watch it when it's already out. And if it's like something just right there and you can just shoot it, by all means go ahead. It's just like I've seen it, but doesn't mean I'm not supporting it. It could come out great as well, you know. Yeah. Thank you, Voon.
Yeah, thanks though for the insight.
Yeah. Okay. After escaping a dangerous factory, a rookie security guard must search to put an end to a deadly serial killer who targets children. I like this one. Who wrote this one?
Me,
Sorry, who is this?
Dion.
Dion. Okay. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Would
Wait,
you,
Okay.
would you like to say a bit about your idea, Dion?
To be fair, it's like when the idea came to me, it was like I remember like back then there was this popular video games in which like it's basically you're stuck in one room, but you have to fend off against different monsters. Now say the protagonist is a security guard, so I thought of adding the protagonist in this story as the security guard, and then in this case, I tried to make it like as if the villain was a bit more like instead of simply the villain comes to threaten the protagonist specifically, I try to make it as if the villain is completely unsympathetic by saying like the victim of the deadly serial killer is like children, which gives like a reason as to why the security guard has to stop the killer.
Wait, what? The serial killer is a child himself?
No, the serial killer targets children.
Oh yeah. That's interesting. That's cool. Wow, I like the fact that you put a security guard in, because sometimes we see security guard as this like this guy just there, like I actually did a few horror films. You guys can go and Google it. Search called Three Doors of Horror. It's a series of short films, and the director actually always wants to use Azman Hassan. I don't know if you know the actor Azman Hassan as a security guard. So he was always cameo in, but there's a few that he's actually starring in. And all of them are horror, and then he's always this night security guard who's always bumped into like all these horror things that's going on, because like it's just interesting to see to see that like someone who is like maybe like he himself doubt himself in life, and then in the end maybe he come off as a hero in maybe stopping the serial killer. So then like then of course then the main thing is like from him having low confidence and doubt himself into like he did these amazing things and he's completely changed person. Fun. This sounds fun. Probably escaping a dangerous factory or rookie. Put an end to. So sorry. So it means like the security guard is actually working in a factory.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Escaping. So it all happens like within a few hours, kind of a time frame.
Yeah, like
it's not like a few days kind of time frame. Right?
I kind of imagine like this, imagine if the film starts off with like a previous conflict has already happened, okay. And then like the beginning is just him getting out of the trouble and then finding himself in another trouble of us,
okay,
which is the serial killer.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned earlier, don't forget the serial killer importance. Like sometimes if like the villain, the bad guys, why is he killing children? Is he like some traumatized person it would be great if you can make the audience empathize a serial killer, and then it would be a successful thing, It'll be fun to feel that sometimes. I don't really know how to pronounce this. Allude? Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to read the description. It's a neo-realist drama which follows Antonio, a 12-year-old boy, son of country folk who uses his family money to sneak into a music concert. Sorry, who wrote this one?
Guys who wrote it, you may speak up. Unless the person.
I think the person's not here.
That's all right. Okay. This one, I think it can be just like the 168 exactly, because it's just about someone doing something, but there is like there is not the kind of things to capture. It's just like, okay, who uses his family's money, or maybe if like can just add one line there saying like the family is poor and then he wants to go to this concert. So what does he do? And then that would be more intriguing. Like should he steal the family money even though the family is poor? So that's the conflict. You know what I mean? Yeah. So sometimes like the conflict should always put inside a log line so then it's to capture people's attention. Comedic parody where three students bribe their way into Malaysian society extort of a fictional university so they can misuse society funds for their own purpose of partying and buying expensive handbags. At the end, the non-corrupted one is saved the day. It's like a bling ring in it. Sofia Coppola. But comedic parody, I think there should be something fun about it. So who wrote this one?
Natasha.
You look okay. You want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Is the person here?
Hi, Philo. That's okay. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, like, but you have your ending there. That sometimes, I mean, in the log line there is this. It is there, but sometimes you want to keep it away. You know, give people a little bit of imagination. That's a way as well. Interesting. I mean, like, I guess like your non-corrupt committee member is sort of the protagonist who actually saved the day. If it's there, I can see it, but I think a little bit restructuring would make it a little bit more intriguing. Yeah. Okay. Should we take one log line out and then do a quick exercise on it, like how we're gonna break down and how we're gonna shoot it?
So we're near our Q&A session, but you can
We
pick
can
the
take a
last
pic-
log line. There's one more log line at the
Oh wait,
end.
did
It hasn't
I
been.
missed it?
A competitive teenager dictates. It dedicates too much time and energy
Oh,
into
sorry.
a silly bag. Yeah,
The
there's
silly
one
bag
last
that
one.
makes. Okay. So is this real life? Did somebody happen? Oh no. So who wrote this one? No, is it here? Hello.
I did.
Oh, hi, Shan.
Hi.
Is this real life? Oh no.
No, it's
Are you a
okay.
Hey, I like your background.
Thank you.
I'm really listening to the song while you're talking to me.
I live in this world more than I live in the actual
Really? Oh, my MCO too. Oh no.
world.
Okay. All right. All right. Communicate takes too much energy and without realizing what's really at stake. It's there. It's definitely there. I mean, like I can see the whole thing, but maybe it could be clearer how to phrase it. Do you want to tell me a little bit about it? What was the
So it's
bet and
more.
like?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess like for context, it's supposed to kind of be just like a very like light-hearted comedy. So the bet is kind of like who gets their driving license first, and it's kind of just like making like, just like talking about how sometimes like after a breakup you get so spiteful that you try the channel and like beat them in something. But I wanted it to be more light-hearted, so I picked like driving license versus like other more like spiteful, revengeful things.
Okay.
And what's at stake is like her time and energy, because like the person even forgot about the bet because it was so like long ago, and then kind of like her realizing I wasted all this time and all this energy for something that the person didn't remember.
Oh,
kind of just like-
kind of sad though. So it's not that comedic, is it?
I guess not really. It's kind of like just like
It's like this journey of this teenager. I'm assuming it's a female.
either one's fine, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So who went through all these things and then like at the end he realized like maybe the guy didn't even take it so seriously.
Yeah, and kind of like watching
Okay.
them like go through all this like trying to get the license and then like messing up because they're so nervous or like because it means that much to them. Quote unquote.
Ah. Okay. Maybe you can put it in about the driving license, just a little bit, like betting about the driving license. Then I see it as kind of a comedy because, like, I mean, like, it depends how when it's done, it could be like, it could be serious as well. Like, because like when you think about like someone bet because of to get a driving license, that's sort of like a coming of age sort of a thing, you know. But then what's really at stake? What was that the stake?
I guess like all the years and her time and energy and her just being invested in something, I guess.
Okay.
Not really sure
okay.
actually.
Okay, so it's not really a stake. Maybe she kind of just sacrifices it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I guess you can say like maybe the time and energy that she uses, and then that time and energy she could have done something else, but she didn't do it, right? Okay. Well, that's a sad story. That's like a Wattpad novel. It's a lot of all these melodramatic Wattpad novels I came across.
You
Sometimes I need inspiration. I need inspiration sometimes. You know, like sometimes. No, yeah, you see, I'm a Gen Z.
support
You see?
that.
Yeah.
We support.
I'm a Gen Z. No, I'm just kidding. Because like there was one time my friend just like, hey, can you go up there? You know, look for a few stories. You know, like okay. You know, get some inspirations and stuff. Then I just look at the summaries, like, hey, this sort of can relate. And then one thing about like me making film is that I try not to inspired by film so much, because then people say, hey, this is you copy of that. You know, there's like, you know what? I'm gonna go get books, you know, literature, you know, I read shit so you don't know where I take it from, you know, so that's a cheat, you know. Yeah, okay. Wendy, sorry, you were saying something. I already have a short screen and did not have the resource to meet the criteria to get a film. However, I did win a lottery spot to do a 60-stage in Toronto Fringe last summer and only got a shot lengthened into an hour script by the time he told me our live shows are already postponed because of COVID. I had the same issue. Later, I'll tell you guys. So I have been filming my album show performance of an online show last summer for my competition in Leicester Comedy Film Festival. That's fun for February, and I never get to do a dance show yet. However, call to artists and residents submission could help me help with getting these projects done. Oh, okay. That's all right. Well, you're still working towards it.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear, Wendy. We're so happy that so I'm guessing you had a theater. It's adapted from a theater show performance, is it? Yeah, maybe we can
actually. It was actually originally a short film that I did in a screenwriters meetup group, and then I couldn't get a film because our school didn't have. It was too long for their criteria. We didn't have a green screen, so I can superimpose the location shots in there later and stuff. So, and it was like a really ambitious project, so I couldn't do it there. Never got it done. Then I got into the Fringe, and then I lengthened it to an hour for live shows. Got into the Tarragon Theater, and then it got canceled or postponed. So we don't know when it's coming back. But my comedy show, but I got to do online shows for my album performance, film myself and edited and a whole bunch, did closed captions and everything for that, for the show runs last year for online. And now the Leicester Comedy Festival, I got my comedy show in there for February. So now it's just kind of exciting, at least. And I'm finding, you know, there could be a residencies for doing short films that comes up later on that I could submit for. But for now, there's dance submissions that you could submit to create some work. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity during COVID still, lots.
Yeah. I had a project postponed as well. I was supposed to shot early this year at March. It was supposed to be funded by sort of a Malaysian Netflix. It's called iFlix, but then like during the MCO, they kind of like shut down. So, but then the contract was signed. You know, they were supposed to give us money to do it, but it didn't happen. So, but in the end, they still give it to us because the contract was signed and somebody else was suing them. So yeah, but it was tough because when we supposed to schedule the time to shoot their stuff, they didn't happen. The money didn't come in for us to shoot for them. So yeah, so we already sacrificed the whole month because we didn't line up with any job. So yeah, sometimes these things happen. But for your like, for example, if you're looking at green screens to superimpose the location, is it like, I think like, since this is a low budget, like would it be possible for your content to to actually adapt to a place that you have, or something like to make it more realistic and more consistent? So not everything is on green screen, or
Yeah,
is everything is on green screen?
That's what I was thinking, that they have this chroma green screen curtain thing that you can put behind. So if you can get that from some source somewhere, or I was thinking about the photography photo shoot kind of kits that they have, the lighting stuff with the green fabric background on the stand. That might work too. Like I'm thinking about a lot of ideas that might work, and also even just some cheap Dollarama bright green wrapping paper taped to your wall. I thought that might work. I haven't tried it yet, but there's a lot of ideas I'm thinking about. They talk about some chroma key software you can get or something to put the background for your Zoom meetings, because you can film yourself in Zoom meetings by yourself, or I don't know if you could do it in group or not, but there's lots of ideas anyway.
Actually, I think just any editing software, you can just key those out. I mean, you just need to get a green cloth. You can go to down the street where any cheap cloth shops. You can just get the green or blue. You know, as long as the color is consistent, it works. Yeah. Sorry. All right, Yvonne. Thank you. Q&A.
All right. Okay. So yeah, we do have quite a few questions. Well, we have 5 from Eventbrite. There's actually 2 that's focusing on lighting, so I'll probably start with those first. So one of them said, lighting indoors at night is going to be important for us. Any budget tricks to make it look good?
Yeah, probably from UK, right? This person. Is that person here? Okay. Anyway, when I was shooting in North America as well, this is a very common problem. But I think it's sort of like we know it's because our life is very routine. If we're in Malaysia, we know how the time goes. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Noreen. So we just have to know, and I think I'm not quite sure about like UK, but in North America, like sometimes the rain is very hard to predict, especially where I'm from in Vancouver. Sometimes it can rain for 3 days or months straight, you know. I think in UK as well, the rains are it's bad, and then you don't know when there will be sun and then when there will be not, right? So that's the tough thing. But I think day and night, it's usually you already know, like, okay, in winter we won't have much, so then we don't really adapt the script into like we don't really write much script about day during the time. Or if we know, like for example, when I was in school, my FYP was probably in like winter time, then everybody write their script in night. So just so it's easy to go by. Speaking of budget, all our locations are indoor because we are too familiar with UK after that. Yes, right. So I think this is why art always reflect to our place, our situation where we lived in, because in the end, we are talking about a story in our world, you know, at the time of our place, you know. So yeah, my advice, weather is something that you can never, ever, ever, ever change. If it rains, it rains, you know. I guess God just tell you don't shoot, you know. But your budget, of course, you put a big light outside, done. But if you don't, you just have to make your story work with what you have. Maybe shoot the stuff that is night first, move things forward, you know, and then shoot the next day with that thing, you know. If you're a producer, you have to work your way around, you know, ask the first AD, hey, can you move the night scenes forward, and then the day scene will shoot tomorrow in the morning, like within these few hours quickly, you know, if it doesn't rain, you know, all these things. So it downs to a lot of coordination if that's the case. Yeah, and then see how you adjust the talent time and things like that. Yeah. I guess that's the only way I can figure out. Yeah, I remember it was raining once. I was not too long ago. My friend was shooting a music video and it rains. Then he just make the scene rains. Then he just shot under the rain. That's like, okay, that works. And then I look at it. Okay, it's quite emotional. It's pretty cool. Okay, well, okay.
So I feel
All
like
right.
this also slightly, we can try to like connect it with the next question, but someone also asked, if one can only get one light for filming on a budget, which would it be? Pocket,
One light?
LED panels, or light tubes? You gave 3 options.
It's a little bit, it depends on your film. It's a little bit, yeah, it depends on your film. LED panel, if you need, like, I guess if you need like a, sorry, what's a pocket light, right? If, I guess if your film is dark and you want to make a little horror, then I guess it's sort of a pocket light. So then you have like a little light source coming out from somewhere that is like intense, you know, like maybe a laptop or such. Then the person, then everywhere is dark. Then you want a pocket light. But if your film is, I guess, well, you can't really do a warm heart. If you have one light, you can't really do a heartwarming family story, I guess, if it's at night. Then I guess if it's like you're talking about film noir, you know, look, you know, stylistic, then it's sort of like a detective film, you know. It's still intense, interrogation. Then you have that like the panel light that is a little bit from afar, and then that comes from that one side. Maybe bounce a little bit from the other side as well. Then you have a little bit of balance look. I guess that's how you can make it work. Yeah. So who came up with this one? This is a DOP question, but I'll answer. I can.
Garrick Liu, but yeah, he's here.
Oh, hey, Garrick. You want to be a DOP, a cinematographer guy? Are you local or are you in UK? Garrick, hello. And speak in the mic.
I think connection a bit slow. Had to wait. Oh, he said he's in a cafe.
That's nice. What are you drinking? Ha! You're not in a cafe. Are you currently working like in a cafe at this hour? Okay, yeah, just 9. Sorry. Are you currently working in a film crew? Are you like camera guy or are you a student or are you working like what's your situation? Oh, you're grading. What are you grading for commercials or Garrick? Do I know you, Garrick? Is this the Garrick that I know? Do you work in Film Force or something? No, not Film Force, sorry. Forefront. Oh, okay, not that Gary that I know. Okay, well, I think give me a ring, then we can talk if you're in KL. Okay, all right, sorry. Yeah, okay. I hope I answer your question, Garrett. Let's move on to the next one. See,
Yeah,
I do so much better when you guys are talking. Just now I was so tired. I was like, you guys asked questions. I was like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all right. Sorry, let's move on. Sorry.
So this question's from Jaren. So he asked, what's a budget-friendly
Your
way
classmate, your ex-classmate, was it Jaren?
Is my junior.
Junior.
He's my brother's friend.
Yeah, I remember. Jaren. Okay,
yeah.
sorry, yeah.
So he asked, what's a budget-friendly way of recording good quality sound for our films?
Ooh, nice one. Okay. iPhone. Nah, okay. Well, our phone. You know, you have this like voice recording. It works. No, you'll be surprised because most of our professional film, like sometimes when we need ADR or dubbing or like sometimes we miss a line and then we want our actors to send in their voice for us to put it in, you know, to lip sync their whatever footage we have, and we just ask them to record in their iPhone and send it to us. And many times it's in our commercial, it's in our film, and you didn't even notice it. Yeah, iPhone. But there are things like, let's say, you can go. Jaren, you're probably local. You can go Shopee, Lazada. You can search for those click mics that connects to iPhone. It's not that expensive. I don't think it's more than 100 ringgit. You can get those. Then you can just connect a dongle to your phone, or if you have like the aux thing, then you can just poke it in, and then you can just clip it in your actor's part, and then you can just put your phone in the pocket, and it works. So that's a way, cheap way. Yeah.
I have a bit out of the blue but related question. Then does it mean that let's say if I'm recording something, it's always going to be better quality if I record audio separately? That means I'll always sub the audio to the video I'm. Correct.
Try to always, but I think this round, I mean, in talking about this competition specifically, then I think it doesn't quite matter. I really don't want, because everyone's a student. We are talking about something about psychology. It's not really about film. So it's very content. It's very about your story. So yeah. But if let's say if you are getting into professionals, and it's definitely always, because the camera mic, if you're shooting it, that's the distance. It never works that well. Sometimes you get to record from afar, sometimes you record from near, so then it becomes that imbalance. But when you have a recorder, it's always consistent. And when you go into mixing, it's much more easier, and it would sound a lot more natural, and you can adjust as well. So like you recorded in this level, if you don't want it, you can throw it away. You know, you can. It's better. It's definitely always. You know.
Okay, move on to the next question. Come.
Yeah, so the next two questions, I don't think the people who have asked are here. Is Jeremy here?
Not that I
Jeremy.
know of.
Okay, then we'll just move on, because that one was more of about the competition.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll move on to the other question, because I think that one's also this question is pretty interesting. So which institutions or organizations are available within the Malaysian film ecosystem to get novice filmmakers started?
Oh, no, I think this is a generic question. Okay, you're talking about this question is the competition question, is it?
No, the other
Oh,
question.
This okay.
Yeah.
About the animation or live one, right?
Yeah, that
Actually,
one.
I had a phone call with Mark earlier. He said
Yeah.
it's actually okay to have animation. So yeah, so live animation, good. Yeah.
Yep.
About that, okay. I think I mentioned earlier about like nobody trusts you at the beginning. If you're going into pitching, getting funding, if you haven't done anything, it's a little bit hard. People who can't trust you, especially if you're still a student, they wouldn't want to fund a student. You know, like what have you done? That would be the thing that people question. So, and then it comes back to low budget. Yeah, because you have nothing now, you do shit, low budget. You know, so yes. So start with your own things. So like I mentioned many times, it really doesn't matter about how technically you need to spend, whatever good camera you have a phone that's good enough. It's the story. If your character is compelling, your story is good, it drives your character well, it matters, people likes it, you win a little bit of award, and then you can go and move on into many of these funding. One of current, I think, quite popular ones. Yeah. Before you even get to funding, there's a lot of script lab. Keep an eye on those. So we're talking about like CFIC, Busan Film Festival have AFA. I think I'm wearing the t-shirt, the AFA t-shirt right in here. So there's AFA, there's Berlin Talent. So there are these things, and then there's Locarno. So a lot of like these big festivals, they have like an academy. So this academy is pretty much like you submit your script, and then if they like it, have a look. I'll just Google it. You can find it. They will invite you to come and like have a script. That means they have professional filmmakers to come and study the script with you, and they give suggestion. It's up to you if you want to change it. But these are like really master script writers, and they are telling you to do stuff. You want to listen a little bit. So once you have like a certified thing, like, oh, for example, you went to Locarno Film Lab, okay, so you went to this film lab, and then you say your script been to this Locarno Film Lab per se, and then if you go and bring into like some of the independent film funding, it's so much more easier, because it's like, oh, hey, like for example, there's one called Purin, Purin, Purin Pictures, Purin Film. You can search that out. They are from Thailand. They fund films, they fund independent films. And they are run by all these festival programmers as well. And all these festival programmers, they are all related. They know each other. So for example, you get to Locarno, you get this film lab, chop and sign, certified, you know, this is good script, good shit, you know, bring it there. You know, so then you bring it to Thailand, and then they say like, hey, my friend chop and sign this thing. Why not? You know? So it becomes much easier. So that's how a lot of independent filmmakers get their own funding, and no string attached. That's very important, because it's all these are funding coming in from festivals that are meant to support especially young filmmakers. I wouldn't say fresh grad filmmaker, but young filmmakers. And I have friends actually in process of actually getting a lot of all this money in. It's very important. Some of the festivals that get funding as well, if you're very good in pitching, you really get to tell a good story, your script is really good, you can get it, no problem. Singapore Film Festival does it as well. Malaysia, unfortunately, not much, but you can actually knock doors on places like FINAS and MDEC. They do. I just did a pitching a while ago, not too long ago, and they sum up total, I think 13 million or something that they give out to many people. So yes, like I mentioned, MDEC, FINAS, Singapore Film Festivals, Locarno, Berlin Talents, Busan, all these things, Hong Kong Film Finance, you know, there's a lot of these things. Just Google around. It's all there. Start with your script first. If you have a kick-ass script, put it up there. If they take it, they take it. If not, too bad. There are also a lot of smaller ones. Some of the local producers, they just want to gather talents and have a look at it, and then they do it kind of locally in some cafe in KL or PJ. They do it. Last month there's one. I wanted to go, but I was working. So yeah, just join all these Facebook group. You will know. Yeah, you will know all these things. Yes, there is money out there. Fight for it. Yeah, and then you'll fight with me. Yes. Okay. Okay, come on, just open the mic. Come on, anyone, just ask question, please.
Yep, I think we have time for one more. Anybody wants any questions? Garrick said it seems competitive compared to other industries.
Garrick. Yes. What's scary? Me scary or like I think he's scary? I mean, not scary. Okay, competitive compared to other industry. Here's the thing I want to say. Okay, probably because like this is quite out there about like whole filmmaking, low budget and all that. So maybe all of you here already know that you want to make films. Yes, it's getting very competitive because of social media, because entertainment is moving. You know, nowadays people don't really watch things 2 hours. I showed my niece 15 minutes, they can't stand it. They want 1 minute, they want TikTok, you know, so they want that shit, you know, like I get this information, I get out, you know. So yeah, that's the world we are living right now. You're right, most of the money don't really surround these old arts anymore. We are going to become like a theater, like a painting, you know, like only old people knows how to like, you know, this is cool and all, you know. But yes, you're right. Competitor besides that, we don't know, especially the COVID things are moving forward. Warner Brothers work with HBO Max, VOD. VOD is still there. Entertainment is definitely always there. Series is always there. It's always storytelling. Storytelling is never leaves. It depends. It doesn't matter your platform. If your script can't make it to a film, write and send and put it out in Wattpad. People read that shit. So it's about sharing. It's still sharing, you know. Yeah. So yeah. Don't worry. Yeah. There's always people who want to read your stories. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we only have 2 minutes left. I think we can end it here. It's very sad for me to end it though. Yes?
Xuan, is your island in Northern Hemisphere or Southern Hemisphere?
Northern Hemisphere.
Oh, that's too bad.
I think so.
Have you got your dung beetle? I can't find my dung beetle.
I think I'm in South. I don't know. There's snow now.
Okay, you're in Northern Hemisphere. Have you got dung beetle though? Okay, that's good. I'm still finding my dung beetle.
All right. Okay, so that was really fun. I personally enjoyed it very much, especially at the end when you guys were more interactive. Very nice.
I know. Really we should have started off like that. I know.
Yeah, but sadly, that is all that we have time for. But before we end this off, I want to say thank you to Edward. Thank you
everyone. Thank you everyone who asked questions and put out a log line, so I have something to talk about at least.
Yep. And of course, I really want to thank our attendees. So thank you for joining us today. We really hope you enjoyed this session, as much as I did at least. But yeah. So to keep up to date on MMOF and MSFF, you can find us on our social media pages at mymindonfilm.my or msff.live. I'll put it in the chat right now. Yeah, so all our details are in there. Do check us out.
Go follow. Yeah. Go follow Edward. Go follow Green Films.
No, I can't wait to see you guys actually make films. Just make it. Just get your iPhone. Just be in your bedroom. Just make one and just submit one. Don't worry. Just make it, you know. It'll get better, even if it's not good, you know. It doesn't matter. It'll get better. It's okay. We all start like, you know, making shit films, you know. It's okay. I make shit films still, you know.
I think that's Edward's final advice, is it? Just last week. Go and do it.
Yeah, last week I just made a shit film. Nah, just kidding. But yes, sometimes I still do. Okay. I think that's that, right?
Yep, so that's the end of our session. Thank you guys. So please feel free to leave now and take care.
Workshop adjourned. You may leave
Yep.
the meeting.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Dion. I
Take
wish
care,
to see
guys.
that film made, yeah? Your serial killer clown, not clown. Why do I have clown coming in? The serial killer and the kid thing, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.